What's up guys, my name is JDCook5 and welcome back to another episode of Breaking Point. Today we are going to be showing you the chapters 7, 8 and 9. So let's get straight into it with a few cinematics and we will see what unfolds in these chapters.
Did Casper being around affect you going into the 23 season?
I have bigger things going on than Casper.
Do you have any regrets about 2023? Anything you'd have done differently?
No, I'm in a good place now. Besides, what's to regret about being the story of the season? Dad!
Devon,
How's business?
same as ever, hiring and firing. How's racing?
Oh, you know, ducking and driving.
You all prepared?
Of course, I've double-checked the strategy changes. I'm just going over my notes now. Everything's covered, just like always. They won't see me for dust.
Spoken like a true Butler. Just remember, we've got a lot on the line this season.
Yeah, I know.
Dev, I'm serious. You're carrying this team, don't forget that.
Yeah, well, you keep signing these second-rate drivers. I can't do all the work.
Just remember where we'd be. Where you'd be if this were all to go belly up.
Just trust me, Dad. You've got nothing to worry about.
Devon, I mean it. If you don't bring your A game, it's back to the bottom of the pile. Do you really want that?
No. No, I don't.
Just keep it in mind. Now go out there and show me what you can do.
Already on it. I'll get you those points, Dad.
Good boy. Speak later.
So it looks like we are going to be playing for Devon Butler for the majority of these chapters, or more likely throughout. A lot of pressure on the young man with his dad being straight on his back, to letting him know that he doesn't need or want to be a second-rated driver. Let's get straight into things with the Grand Prix and see what unfolds.
Welcome to the Bahrain International Circuit, and any moment now our drivers will take to the track and the Bahrain Grand Prix can begin. We go racing today around the 3.36 miles of the magnificent Bahrain International Circuit, with 15 corners and 2 good passing opportunities into turns 1 and 4. Keep an eye out for drivers locking the front left tyre into the tricky braking zone of turn 10. Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. World champion Max Verstappen starts from pole position, and it's Charles Leclerc in P2. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Fernando Alonso, Russell, Perez, Hamilton, Sainz, Stroll, Ocon, Norris, Albon, Oscar Piastri, Jackson, Gasly, Tsunoda, Butler, Bottas, Sargent, Joe, Magnussen, De Vries, Magnussen. Now it's almost time for lights out, so let's go down to the track. 2023 Bahrain. We're about to get going, and I hope you've enjoyed the build-up just as much as we have. The teams are ready on the grid, they're ready in the garages too, but in the commentary box alongside me, are you ready, Ant?
Of course I'm ready, Crofty. New season, new challenges for all of them out there, drivers and teams. I love this part of the year, Crofty. This is where it really kicks off, and you get to showcase all that hard work you've done through the winter months. Does it pay off?
Yeah, that's the question, isn't it? What does the 2023 season have in store for us? We're about to find out.
Okay, Devon, it's a brand new season, you know that, so let's start it as we mean to go on, okay? Okay? Let's get out there, come on.
So we're here in Bahrain, and this is actually the first time we have been on the grid in terms of the official starting process. We haven't been thrown into a cinematic where we are X amount of laps into the race. We are currently in Bahrain. We are placed P16 as we saw on the grid. The primary objective, we'll see, we'll be finishing in the top 5. That is going to be a stretch for where the position that we're in. We do probably get a bonus one also, but I think actually, yeah, and finish in the top 3 and get the fastest lap. So it's the 5 lights out, and we are waiting for them to go, and it is lights out and away we go. Sonoda just in front of us with Perez there also just right at the top. He's going to be our person to overtake, or Hamilton as it stands. Early on into the brakes, avoiding any sort of collision past our teammate as we go deep into the corner. No collision. Oh, we are smacked into the AlphaTauri of Sonoda, is that? I'm not even too sure. Yes, it's Sonoda. Yes, it is Sonoda. Yes. Yuki Tsunoda with a collision, but we do get past, checking the vehicle condition, making sure all things are well with the car as we look to go around the first couple of corners, getting the tyres nice and warm and proceeding with the lap 1 out of 14. Aiden Jackson just in front of us, our teammate. I'm not too sure who's in front of him. He looks like he's being held up a little bit. It's Alexander Albon in the Williams with Piastri and Gasly in front also. Weaving in and out of that corner, having a little drift. Looks like we're putting the handbrake on as the back is sticking right out as we go early on into the brakes with this corner also. Just avoiding any sort of collision with our teammate, not wanting to cause too much more drama compared to what we have in recent months as he looks to defend his line, but we go on the right hand side of him slowly into there, not too late, but we do go a little bit wide with him covering his corner. We are able to go on the other side with a little switchback, and we are past Aiden Jackson going into P14 now. Alexander Albon and Piastri the next person to overtake as we look to go past Alexander Albon on the straight, gaining a nice bit of speed throughout there, and we gain a bit of slipstream. He's still level with us wheel to wheel as we look to outbrake him. He is late on the brakes also, but we are able to get the final edge over Alexander Albon, going on to complete the first lap out of 14, going on to lap 2 now of Piastri, and I do believe Pierre Gasly for the next people to overtake. This will be the last lap before we do commence with the DRS being enabled also. Shall we see if we are able to go even further up with that little bit more of a kind of boost. Piastri now behind us, and he ekes us out there, not wanting to go and overtake him whatsoever. No space given whatsoever, and we go straight into the back of him. A collision being made there as we're not able to go through the corner nicely. Another check on the vehicle condition, making sure all is well, but nothing to worry about. We've been very lucky when that comes, and that could have ruined our race straight away as we look to go late on into the brakes, and Oscar Piastri is bye-bye. And as we look to go past now Pierre Gasly, 600ths of a second split us, Piastri 500ths of a second behind us. We've got Ocon in front, and I do believe that might have been Stroll. I might have been incorrect, but we shall see as we go further up the field. Good start with the Grand Prix. We have made up 4 places already as we go nicely into this bit of corner. We are fast through there, and on this straight also Pierre Gasly going wheel to wheel now as we look to go into the final corner before the straight. He is later on the brakes than I am, and I do go back onto the brakes fairly early, and I do kind of wimp out of that situation. With knowing that we have time to spare, I have given him the place for the time being. DRS now enabled, so as we go into this first corner, with this little bit of chicane where we go right and then left, we should gain the DRS with enough people within a second. We shall see as we go over the bit where we do activate the DRS, and the wing has opened, so we are now getting a little bit of speed as we go down this straight. Esteban Ocon colliding with Lance Stroll there, wheel to wheel through that corner. Lovely bit of racing between the two. Not so clean though as we look to go past Esteban Ocon with our hands in the air with a collision, even though I get the warning, but doesn't seem to be my fault in my opinion. As we go past Lance Stroll now, a flurry of overtakes with a double one, pretty much one after the other. The engineer congratulating us on that good bit of work as we look to go further into the Grand Prix now. Lap 3 of 14 with Norris in front of us, with Stroll and Ocon now behind us. We are now in the top 10 being P9 currently, and this objective is looking more and more kind of easy and more achievable, shall we say. Norris now going across this corner, a decent bit of speed as he gets up there, gains some seconds on us, but in this bit we are really strong, really strong. pit stop information to see when we will be pitting. We have a purple sector and a green sector, so I think I might disobey team orders when it comes to this in true Devon Butler style and not pit straight away. Feel like I'm very fast and these mediums have got more to give as we go late onto the brakes and past Lando Norris as we look to go further into this Grand Prix, going into P8 now, 2.7 seconds above us from us and Sainz, sorry, and that gap between us and Perez, who is currently in 5th, is 4 seconds. We have got 10 laps to be able to gain the gap, and as you can see, he is in my peripheral as Sainz is in front of us, as we say. He's 200ths of a second. We're going to be completing another fastest lap with a 1:36.652, a real strong lap from us, and we are definitely getting the most out of these tyres as we go late on there. On the outside we go as we look to control the car as much as we can as we go further on, with Alonso now behind us. 600ths of a second splits me and Alonso, with 1 second gap between us and Perez now as we gain a bit of DRS, but we are wide into that corner. Not the best as they gain a bit of more time on me, and I have to make it up on the exit. I love this part of the track because it's so free flowing and you do gain a lot of speed when going through here. Early on into the brakes and just kind of gliding the car into the corner, trying to not have the back end spin out too much on me, as I do lose a lot of time when it comes to that. Now we are on lap 5 of 14 now, back of Alonso we have there, just trying to see if there's any sort of point where we can overtake, possibly on this straight as we look to go onto the right hand side of him, late onto the brakes, and we make it possible as we go right past Alonso. Such an unexpected overtaking point, but a very good overtake. We go on to a complete lap 6 of 14 now, and we do get the instructions that the pit window is open and we look to then pit. I don't think I will for the time being though, due to the tyres being very good. We still seem strong as we look to nearly kind of, I don't even know what happened there. The tyres did seem strong, I say, as we just kind of spin out of that corner nearly. Holding our own as we look to overtake Perez, maybe pushing a little bit too hard as we speak. Let's say we're just trying to see if we can get some sort of slipstream or maybe overtake in this certain corner. We're strong in this corner, we're late onto the brakes, we're wheel to wheel, and away we go. We are through, and that puts us into 5th spot. We are not pitting yet, we have got more position to make up before we hit into the pits, and I feel like it might even gain a better kind of start after we pit. I'll tell them that we're going to box this lap, so they are aware. I've kind of made them aware that we are boxing this lap. Hamilton and Russell, 2 teammates, fighting it out in 3rd and 4th place. We are looking to go into the top 3, so that will be the bonus completed if we can get past either of the 2. Doesn't look like we're going to do it this lap though, lap 7 of 14, as we will be completing that going onto lap 8 as soon as we go into the pits, as we look to go to the end of the pit lane to be able to pit and hopefully get an optimal one with a 2.4 or 2.5 second pit stop. We shall see as they put the wheels on the tyres, a fresh set of softs, so we're going to be going even faster. We're double stacking also with Aiden Jackson coming in with the teammate in the pits thing coming up on my screen. We look to go out onto the pits, and we're going to have Guohan Zhou right near us as we look to see if we can do anything there. We keep our own there with him behind us now. He didn't seem to touch us too much, with Leclerc banging into him unfortunately, but no collision being noted with the FIA, so must have been okay. Vehicle condition looking okay also. Lap 8 of 14 now, we're mostly the way through, and our next person to overtake would actually be Max Verstappen, and if that were to be the case, we might even be able to go even quicker depending on who's pitted and everything else. We might even go into 1st place in these couple of laps. We have got, how many we got left? We got 6 laps left now, so this is definitely kind of make or break, and see if we can make up the time as quick as possible as we look to finish in the top 3 or even possibly win this Bahrain Grand Prix. As we go on to the final straight now, I do believe a lot of people are going to be pitting. Yeah, Lance Stroll in the pits, so we're going to be moving straight up. Perez in the pits also, Hamilton in the pits also, as we go into 3rd place with George Russell not pitting just yet with 18 seconds splits us, but he has not pitted, so it'll probably take him around 20 odd seconds to pit, so you're realistically looking at a decent window to be able to try and overtake the young Englishman. as we go on even further into the Grand Prix. DRS being obtained through that straight as we go even closer and close the gap to Max Verstappen, the world champion, in our peripheral as we go through these few corners before we hit onto the straight and then go into another DRS zone. As we're late into the brakes, we push him out of the corner, and in true style, true Devon Butler style shall I say, we are able to go past Max Verstappen and go even further on, where we look to overtake George Russell, who is currently in the pits, meaning we have got a fastest lap with a 1:36.342, 0.03 of a second quicker compared to on the mediums, and we are into top spot here now. We are leading the Bahrain Grand Prix with 4 laps to spare as we look to go and gain even more time on our people behind us to be able to try and win this Grand Prix. This is certainly just making a unbelievable race. P16 to P1, but we're not over yet as Max Verstappen looks to overtake us on this straight. Enough DRS gain, but we are late onto the brakes, giving enough space. We are wheel to wheel with Max Verstappen as he gives us a little bit of space, and he bottles out of that one and he allows us the space. We also get DRS because we were behind Verstappen in that corner, allowing us a little bit of gain on him. With even it was a bit of a cheat, I feel like, that DRS in some ways, but we will take it. 0.09 of a second now splits us and Verstappen, with 6 seconds with us and Leclerc. The fight is definitely between myself and Verstappen as he looks to go on the overtake once again in the same position. I will have to be late onto the brakes as he's on the right side of me compared to the left from previous lap. He goes back onto the left though, and I am on the outside or inside position, shall I say, and we do go through him nicely. It gives me some more space and we are through. Lap 12 of 14 now, we get the DRS again from once being behind him. He does stick with us though, 0.04 of a second now splits myself and Verstappen as we go with 2 laps to spare now, trying to gain as much time on Max Verstappen, hoping we can get over the finish line in first place. Further on we go as we late onto the brakes here, just trying to get a bit more time. Late on there though, as you see, we go wide with the back end trying to spin out on me. 1.1 seconds does split myself and Verstappen, so as it stands they won't get DRS through this straight. If he does gain a little bit of time there, but I'm not sure he will. No, he won't. 1.6 seconds now after the end of the straight as we go even further away from Max Verstappen, securing a victory hopefully. I don't think, unless we were to make any hiccups now or even go into a cutscene where Devon Butler does crash the car, it looks to be that we are going to finish this Grand Prix in P1. 1.6 seconds going into the final corner as we get prepared to go on the final straight for the final time in this race. Late on in there, and as we say, this has been a monumental race. We raised the one finger for P1 and we are in jubilant celebrations, and we have done it. Unbelievable stuff.
Meanwhile, plenty of surprises in the midfield. Where do we start, Ant?
Well, I think we have to look at Common Sport. For me, they've been the biggest surprise so far, and Butler, he's doing fantastically well.
The thing is, though, they've got to sustain that over the course of the whole season, and that's easier said than done. Certainly one cast record. We'll be hoping that this season is better than his last. Here comes your top 3 making their way down to the podium for what can only be described as a fantastic day for Formula One.
What a start to the season, Devon. You must be happy with that performance.
You know, sometimes I wonder if anyone's been paying attention. You know, I've always been fast. Everyone saw the problems we had with the car last season. Everyone saw that. Now this season, I get to drive a car that works, and surprise, surprise, I smash it. It's not rocket science.
Well, you've had your share of run-ins in the past with teammate Aiden Jackson. Crucial question is that behind you? How do you feel about him right now?
You know, I'm pretty sure he's trying to ignore me these days. And it's a shame because I honestly think we could be good mates. But, I don't know. The way Aiden acts seems as though he's not really interested in my friendship. His loss though, Natalie, his loss.
Well, Connor Sport surprised everyone by appointing Casper Ackerman as team principal this season. So how do you feel about taking orders from someone that you've got such a history with?
I think he's going to do a terrific job, you know? Mainly because he's got me on his team, so he can't go too far wrong. Now, I'm sure he's incredibly thankful to have me as a driver.
Well, you're embarking on a new year, but what would a successful season look like for you in 2023?
Well, call me deluded, but I'm gonna try. I'm gonna really try to make Casper Ackerman laugh at something. And if I can achieve it, I'll consider that a successful season. Now, it's good. You've got to have ambitious goals in this sport, so I'm aiming as high as humanly possible.
Thank you so much for your time.
Great race out there today, just in the highlights. Listen, I know we've had our run-ins and, well, last season was last season. A fresh start for the team. What do you say?
Huh, Jackson. Yeah. Cheers, mate. Bin's over there. Yeah. Nice one.
How about the season just gone?
The 2023 season was completely different for Connor Sport.
How so?
But the car, for one. We'd ironed out the most critical issues, and it was just starting to live up to its potential.
Can we talk about what happened with Devon?
So that was interesting. Is Devon Butler ignoring everyone, or is something going wrong? I think the pressure is definitely getting to him, but a definitely good race for him though. There's definitely a weird one where he isn't celebrating as much, and he definitely doesn't seem to be himself. It'll be interesting to see if there'll be anything, there is any underlying condition that we do find out later in the episodes.
Yeah, what is it?
Now that's how a butler takes care of business.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Carrying the team, Devon, as well as the butler name. I couldn't be happier.
Yeah, went well.
Well, I can't wait to hear what those clowns Ackerman and Connor have to say.
Yeah.
Hmm? You okay, Devon?
What? Oh, yeah, I'm fine. I'm, just adrenaline, Dad. I really pushed it out there today, you know. I just need to simmer down a bit.
Of course you do. Let's talk later. I'll be in meetings, but call me whenever you like. I'm proud of your son. Let's just make sure today's result isn't just a one-off. Eh?
Yeah. All right. Ciao.
Here comes Butler. Good pace here down the straight. Into the corner we go. That's a little too late, and he nearly goes off the track on the exit. Ant, is that a lapse in concentration?
I think just a little bit of desperate driving there, Crofty. He's pushing way too hard. I mean, there's nobody else around him at this stage.
Okay, Devon, we're going to have to ease off from the brakes. Brakes don't feel right. Okay, we'll have a look at it, but you're going to see a drop-off in performance, I'm afraid. What? Why? We've asked you to take it easy on the last lap, but pushing has made the issue even worse. So we're just going to have to live with it for now. What are you talking about? Listen, just do what you can, please, Devon. Come on.
So here we have it then, the Connor Sport kind of just, I don't even know what to call it, mishaps keep on happening, and unfortunately for us, we have got no power, but this is due to kind of the way Devon Butler has driven the car and not listening to the comms once again. I'm not too sure what is going on whatsoever. 1 minute they're telling him to kind of slow down and he's speeding up, so there's definitely an issue being had, and there might be a bit of controversy when it comes to the comms again. Objective is to hold on to as many positions as we possibly can and to be able to finish ahead of Jackson. We're currently ahead of him as of the moment, so we're interested to see if we have any battle with kind of our teammates. 5 laps we have got left, or 4 now being clutched in the line, with 11 out of 15 being done. Carlos Sainz and Pierre Gasly are going to be looking to trouble us as we have no real power through these straights. We're not even going to be able to gain any sort of momentum going forward either. We've got an overtake back marker thing coming up, but we can't even overtake him because he actually seems faster than what we do. Unless he slows down, then there's no way. Yeah, he has slowed down. Okay, fair enough. He goes right to the left, Nico Hulkenberg. But Carlos Sainz goes to make a move, and so he does really early on into the brakes, and I took that corner very gingerly. This car has no power whatsoever, and the brakes feel absolutely terrible. We are not fast in this whatsoever. We have definitely got a competition to even see if we can have that 1 point from finishing in 10th. I don't think we're going to get 9th as Carlos Sainz looks a little bit too fast. Said that though, we have got some DRS and we're hot on his tail as we go to the left of him, right then left as we go round the corner, squeezing him out, and we go on the camber as we go past Carlos Sainz. I feel like it's going to be a bit of a yo-yo in terms of the position of 9th and 10th. Be interesting to see where we do end up, with Pierre Gasly going to be staying in the mix also, as we have now lap 12 of 15, 3 laps left to go as we try and hold on to these positions. But once again, Carlos Sainz and Pierre Gasly now this time getting a bit of DRS and gaining some time on us as we go into the final few corners before we do hit the long straight, having even more time left off me. As you see here, going into the corner, the car just doesn't feel any good whatsoever, as we see going past the checkered flag now, lap 13 of 15 with 2 laps left of the race. Carlos Sainz to the left of me, wheel to wheel, going through the corner, and he is passed once again, with Pierre Gasly now having a little look to see if he can have a bit of speed through there. DRS for both of us as we look to see if any of us can gain any sort of time on each other. Wheel to wheel once again through the corner, and we're going to be having some battles even in the short time that we are going to be in this race for, and this is definitely going to be even with the 4 to 5 laps that we're doing, this is going to be a crazy one, trying to hold on to as many positions as we possibly can, being in P9. 4.1 seconds, 4.2 now splitting us and Stroll, with Sainz and Gasly 800ths and 400ths of a second behind us. This is going to be a heroic end to see if we can even get any points. If we can even just gain a point, I think we'll be happy, with Carlos Sainz right behind us now as we look to see if he will kind of go anywhere past, trying to defend our lines. This is a close one, I tell you. Make or break on the brakes. I say, thought the yellow flag was flashing there on the flag markers, but that might have just been me, a little blip in the game. As we look to go onto this final corner, the back end kind of sweeping out on us as we go onto this final straight now. DRS for Carlos Sainz, as we actually seem to go a little bit past him, 300ths of a second, only 100ths of a second being gained, but at least it is something. Holding our own into here, and now we have got 2 laps left, lap 14 of 15, as we go onto this long bit of straight here with the DRS. Sainz is gaining on us and he is past us, but we still are neck and neck into the corner. It is who has got the more bottle, and we have it as we go nicely into these few corners, going back onto the power, with Carlos Sainz more than likely having another spout at trying to get past us. DRS for him and Gasly as they look to overtake, holding our own into that corner and trying to back them off as much as we possibly can. This is make or break now as we go into the final corner before the straight, before we finish lap 15 of 15, leaving 1 lap left to try and hold this position as much as we possibly can. As we look now on the final straight, Sainz behind us with 400ths of a second, and Gasly being 700th of a second. The time being closed very much, with the DRS being gained by both two drivers as we go into this bit of DRS zone. There's a lot of DRS zones, but there is a fast track, as Carlos Sainz is on the right of me, Gasly following the same route as we go deep into the corner, only having to allow Carlos Sainz the space as we go wheel to wheel again into this corner. We have faced so many situations like that in this race already, and we go past him once again, holding our own into this corner as we go slow, just trying to gain as much speed as possible out on the exit. We are struggling on these straights though, and this is where they're gaining their time. As you can see, Carlos Sainz in the rear view mirror, leaving Gasly behind, but he does gain some space, and unfortunately for us, Carlos Sainz is through and past us. Not a lot we can do. Max Verstappen being your race winner there, but we are focusing on what we can do with Gasly now behind us, trying to gain that last point. Sainz seems to be way ahead, and unfortunately for us, I don't think we're going to get anywhere near him, as it's 600ths of a second currently that splits us, but I think it's going to be even further going into these corners. 500ths of a second, we might just be able to get it, but unfortunately for us, if it wasn't to be on this final corner, then we will not be overtaking Carlos Sainz. A disappointing race for the Connosport team, and unfortunately we will be facing a P10 finish as we go over the checkered flag in Australia. Really poor performance, and a lot to be talked about with Devon Butler and the team.
Look, this isn't the first time we've seen Devon Butler go through, but the question is, what's a Connosport going to do about it?
Well, it's really hard. We've seen so many times before, Crofty, in the past, so hard to control your drivers. In a way, they're their own entity, but on top of it, they're working with a team, and that's what you want. Very hard situation to manage.
And working for the team, Casper Ackermann wanted to make a clean break for this year. This does feel, though, that it's something that they might have had to have dealt with last season.
It's really not what they wanted. A repeat of what happened in the past, and you cannot let it go on. It can't continue. They're just damaging the reputation of the team and their own reputation as well. They have to sort it out. I'm sure they'll be having words.
So it's all changed here in Australia, and as the teams acclimatised to their new standings, so will we. The drivers are en route to the podium as we speak. What a fantastic win for the Red Bull team. They performed exceptionally today, keeping us firmly on the edge of our seats throughout the entirety of the race. Congratulations to everybody at the team.
Now, Devon, you didn't respond to a team order today. In Hungary last season, you said it was a comms issue, but Connosport claimed they didn't know what that issue was. So, are they hiding something? What's really going on here?
Okay, what's really going on is there are technical issues at Connosport. Now, we're not hiding anything. It's no secret we've struggled with these kind of issues. The comms went down again, and we've got to sort it out. That's all.
Devon, you finished the race with a compromised car today. What was that like for you?
I did what I could in the circumstances, but you know what? I really need a car that I can push without worrying that I'm going to break something. If the team can't give me a car like that, what am I supposed to do?
Now, some have been saying that you do get preferential treatment because your father funds the team. What do you say to those allegations?
I think people don't know my old man. I actually think he prefers Aiden, as ridiculous as that sounds. He's not one for shortcuts. He'd be annoyed if he thought that I was angling for any.
So how do you expect Connosport to perform this season, based on your performance so far?
They got me, haven't they? So, yeah, I expect us to do pretty well. If they can sort out the car this time around, I'll get them all the points their little hearts desire.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, there you go then. Devon Butler answering the questions in true Devon Butler fashion as we look to go on now with the team principal asking being asked a few questions, may I say, about the new film coming up, whether they should come into the garages and disturb the engineers. And then there's another thing about the comms issue. This is a huge thing going on at the moment with Devon Butler, and this has not been the first time anything has been mentioned either. That is the whole controversy around it.
You nip this in the bud, Cass. Do you hear me?
Andreu.
Butler, what was that out there today? I will not have a return to last season. We are a team. He cannot be allowed to do just what he wants.
Look, just calm down. I have it under control.
Oh, this is Devon we're talking about. There is no control. He nearly lost the car, Casper.
But he didn't. You know what it gets like out there. I'm sure there's an explanation.
Or an excuse.
And we'll find out. I'll be racing it at the debrief, okay? So I'll report back to you.
Okay, hang on. Look, I've got to go. I've got Davidoff on the other line.
Of course you have. Enjoy. No, it's a big deal when one of your drivers decides to do their own thing. So I called him out on it at the next team meeting.
And what was Devon's reaction?
Well, he denied the whole thing. Blamed it on a comms fail.
Which I thought was strange. The same thing happened the year before when I was principal, and he gave the exact same excuse.
Yeah?
You wanted to see me?
There he is. You're a difficult man to pin down. Right, I'll cut right to the chase, Devon. Tell me what's happening.
What are you talking about?
Well, it's not just disregarding team orders. Paddock talks. People are saying you've been distracted, that you're ignoring them completely. Now, my job is to make sure the team works smoothly, like clockwork, so I'm just trying to work out what's going on.
I told you, check the comms.
Yeah, the comms are fine, Devon. We checked. What's going on?
Nothing.
Just cut that out. Show me some respect now.
Okay. I heard the order. All right? You happy?
Why ignore it?
I'm feeling it, Cass. The pressure, paddock gossip these last couple of months.
Oh, come on. You're Devon Butler. You are the paddock gossip.
You've heard what they're saying, right? You've seen what they're writing. Driving on Daddy's money. It's making me second guess myself.
Okay. We can work through that. Start changing the team narrative.
Absolutely.
But in the meantime, I'd like you to see someone from the medical team. Just to be sure. I've booked you in for this afternoon.
No, Cass. Look, I've got a race to prep for, okay? I need my head in the game. I'm fine.
I get that. That's fine. But I want you to see them straight after the race. Understood?
Yeah. Fine. Interesting to see the conversation between him and Casper Ankerman as he looks to be feeling the pressure going on into the paddock, with a lot of people saying that it is his father's money that is the only reason he is in racing, and people are doubting his ability. Our focus is now on in Italy, going around this circuit with lap 9 of 16's been done. We overtake Sargent and Piastri straight away with our only objective just to finish the race. No other higher objective apart from that.
So we shall see what we do. Fastest lap going to us with a 1:22.596 as we look to go a little bit further on into the race now. Nico Hulkenberg upon our horizon to be able to try and overtake with 600ths of a second splits us and the Haas car. Going late on into the brakes here, and we are fast through these corners with the soft tyre compared to the hard of Nico Hulkenberg as we go early on into the brakes here to try and gain a bit of momentum coming out the corner with a decent bit of speed as we get a decent exit and we go to his left. He tries to shut us out, but we are not having any of it, and we are through with flying colours as we go past on to Nico Hulkenberg. And now we look to be able to try and close the gap with 1.9 seconds splits us and Valtteri Bottas as we see him turning the corner going up the hill before we have the last few corners going on to the final straight. Really fast into here, weaving in and out as we are late on into the brakes. They're a little bit wider than I wanted as we go over the camber on to the long straight before we go on to the actual straight where we do have the checkered flag. Lap 11 of 16 now, and we have gained even more time on Valtteri Bottas. Anytime now we will be overtaking him, I hope, and we will gain P12 with only 5 laps to kind of gain us some sort of point in this race. He looks to be in the middle of the track as of the moment, not allowing me to overtake. I go to my left but not able to overtake. Have to be a bit more patient going into this long corner as we go down the hill before we go up the hill. Late again onto the camber, and as we go onto this little bit of chicane, go to the left of him and he hasn't suspected it. He tries to move to the left to cut me off, but unfortunately for him, he is not able to pass. That puts us up to 12th place now with Kevin Magnussen, the other Haas car, going now for the next overtake. Lap 11 of 16, so we still have time if this race does continue as we look to try and gain a little bit of points late on into the brakes here, trying to see if I can push Kevin Magnussen out the way, trying to not collide with him, but just trying to allow myself a little bit of space as we go fast into that corner. A little bit of speed going through there, and we're doing really well. We have gained a lot of time in such a short amount of time also. Lap 12 of 16 now, and the next person that we would be overtaking would be Nick De Vries, the AlphaTauri car that hasn't been doing too well this season, but neither has Connor Sport, as we look to try and overtake him. The 2.9 second gap now being brought down to 600ths of a second, 400ths, 300ths, as we look to try and overtake him on this tight bit of track as we go on the outside of the corner, cutting on into the inside, and now we are in 10th place. So we're now on the points, purple sector in sector 2, so we'll run for a fast lap also as we look to go even further. We don't have a lot of time left. Once we cross the line, we will be looking at completing only 3 laps from there onwards. So we shall see if we are able to kind of get even more points. Aiden Jackson at 8th. Surprised we haven't got an objective to try and overtake him. Be interesting to see if we can catch up to him and do something. Oh, something's happened.
Devon Butler now. Oh, that's not good! Oh no! Devon Butler spins! He's out!
Oh, he just misjudges it and clips the curb. What a mess.
Devon Butler, with that move, is out of the race. He won't want to see that too many times. We want to see him out of the car, though. That's good news.
Big relief there, although he does still look a bit unsteady on his feet, Crofty.
Well, thumbs up to the crowd, but I'd imagine after that, he'll be quite shaken.
Hey.
I'm done, Casper. I'm done.
It's okay. It's okay. It was his hearing. He'd been keeping it from us. I think maybe he'd been trying to keep it from himself. I mean, he was at the height of his career. Yeah, what can you say?
How did you feel?
I was devastated. But 5 years in F1. Can't argue with that. I mean, most people never even get the chance, so. And I was still one of the best while I was out there. You ask anyone.
How did you feel when Devon left?
How did I feel?
Well, that's not something you see every day. A terrible end to the Imola Grand Prix, and there definitely seems to be something wrong with Devon Butler. A massive crash, or losing all kind of sense and everything else there, and a really unfortunate one at that. So intriguing to see what will be happening with the interviews, and he does lose his cool, smashing up his dressing room, and kind of Casper Ankerman tending to his needs. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Please like and subscribe for more content just like this one, and don't forget to hit the notification button so you never miss a video. Cheers.